What's going on, lads and lasses? Welcome back to 100% Mugs. So this, of course, is your match preview for the game down at Ewood Park tomorrow night as Newcastle United go into the fifth round of the FA Cup. We'll have a chance, of course, to go into the quarter-finals of the FA Cup if we can progress past Blackburn Rovers in the FA Cup tomorrow night. 7:45 kickoff. It will be on BBC One as well for this game, which is going to be really great to see. Of course, for a change. And to progress to this round, we had to take on, of course, our rivals down the road, the Mackhams, of course, in the third round of the FA Cup, which, of course, we absolutely pulverised them. Then in the fourth round of the FA Cup, we had to make a trip down to West London to take on Fulham, of course, where, of course, again, we got a fantastic win in that game. And now we are in the fifth round against Blackburn Rovers, a team that we seem to always happen to come up against in the FA Cup. And I've got to say, there is positives in the fact that the last time we played Blackburn Rovers, yes, it was a 1-1 draw at St James's Park. I was in attendance for that game. But then we had to have a replay down at Ewood Park, and we ended up winning 4-2 in that game after extra time. A fantastic result by the lads, and of course allowed us to progress through to the fourth round of the FA Cup, as that was the third round when we took them on in the 18-19 campaign. The last time we progressed through to the fifth round and played in the fifth round of the FA Cup was the 1920 campaign. We took on West Bromwich Albion, of course, down at the Hawthorns, and we won 3-2 in that game. However, there is some massive boost of confidence going into this one in the fact that out of the last 10 times we have played in the fifth round of the FA Cup, we have managed to win exactly 8 times, only losing twice. The last time we lost, of course, out of the most recent losses was the 92-93 campaign when we played, of course, our opponents tomorrow night, Blackburn Rovers, down at Ewood Park. We ended up losing 1-0. Hopefully, that isn't the case tomorrow night. Hopefully, we will bounce back after what has been, not the best of results in the last match just gone there against Arsenal in the Premier League. But hopefully we will have a chance to bounce back, get the performance going, and of course get ourselves through into the quarterfinals of the FA Cup. If we do, then of course the draw for that will take place on Wednesday at 7:30 ahead of course, their coverage on ITV of course, the Liverpool-Southampton game. And if we do manage to progress through, of course, the quarter-final games will take place over the weekend of Saturday, the 16th of March. So if we were to advance through, then the PL visit to Crystal Palace that day would be, of course, postponed. And if we were to progress even further than that and go into the semi-finals, which is quite a bit ahead, our trip to Old Trafford in April, of course, would clash with the semi-final weekend as well. But we've got to get past this game first against Blackburn Rovers tomorrow night down at Ewood Park. And I've got to say, Blackburn, of course, to get to this point, made it to this stage thanks to a 5-2 home win over Cambridge United and a 4-2 success against Wrexham at Ewood Park. So that firing on all cylinders, Blackburn are at home in the Cup. But we are a different beast compared to Cambridge United and Wrexham. Yes, they're two really good teams, don't get us wrong, but they're not Newcastle United. We are a much different beast to them two teams, and I do fancy our chances in this game against Blackburn Rovers tomorrow night down at Ewood Park. Of course, unfortunately, it would have been a chance for John Dahl Thomason, ex-Mag, of course, to play against against his old team, but unfortunately he has parted ways with Blackburn Rovers recently, and of course it is now Birmingham City boss John Huston who has come in, of course, to take over the role at Blackburn Rovers. Away from the FA Cup, Blackburn have just won once in 13 championship games. They've drew 1-1 at home to Norwich on Saturday ahead of our visit, so they're not doing amazingly in the league, so maybe this is a great moment, for us to be able to play against them, get ourselves some confidence up, progress through to the quarterfinals of the FA Cup as well. And looking at the referee going into this game, it is going to be, of course, the Aussie whistler, Jared Gillette, third posting of the season involving Newcastle following on the Carabao Cup exit on penalties at Chelsea, and of course the FA Cup win at Fulham. So of course he was the referee in the middle for the last round of the FA Cup that were progressed through. There will be no VAR in operation, unfortunately for this game, or fortunately for this game, however you want to see it, as of course it is Ewood Park and the facilities are not installed at the venue. Like I say, this is going to be a really good game. It's Alan Shearer derby. Shearer's going to be up for it. We're going to be up for it. And, we did manage to see Alan Shearer, of course, in the crowd for the Fulham game. If he'll be in the crowd for this one, I don't know. If he'll be on BBC One, he might be on punditry duty for this one. Or who knows, maybe they'll give him the option of being on commentary, but I think it's going to probably be punditry duty for this one for Alan Shearer, which I'm fine by that, to hear Alan Shearer's thoughts on the games is always a pleasure at the end of the day, because he knows what he's talking about, and it's just going to be a really fun game for all involved, and the neutrals, I'm sure, are going to get a good amount of enjoyment out of this game as well. Two really massive clubs, of course, playing against each other, two Premier League powerhouse clubs, of course, of the 90s playing against each other. So let's see, what happens in this game tomorrow night down at Ewood Park. But like I say, hopefully, we'll progress through into the next round of the FA Cup, into that quarterfinals, and let's see if we can go all the way to Wembley and get into the final of the FA Cup. And who knows, maybe we can possibly win it, but that's all ahead. We've got to get past this game first. Let us know your score predictions down in the comments below, and also please consider hitting a like, share, subscribe to the channel. There's a super thanks button down below, so if you want to support the channel by hitting that super thanks, then that would be appreciated. And if you don't want to go that path, then of course there is a membership where you can join for $1.99 a month, and you do get some perks with that, like a shout out on the channel and priority replies to your comments down in the comments section as well. And I'll see you all for the match reaction. However, lads.